And I told him, hey, can you make that? I'm like, oh yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
Wow.
Great. Wow. I'm sure that they'll probably ask him to do it again for another one.
I'm pretty sure that he'll be okay with that.
Okay. But yeah,
He appreciates the
yeah,
business.
good. Well, we need to talk about if we're gonna do photography again for
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah, we can definitely do that again. Yeah. I got all my notes from the previous one, and it, kind of tweaks little things that we need to probably tweak. But yeah, we can definitely do it.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'll probably know from context, but if I haven't turned on the TV, just because it's time for it.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Bill.
So, Smitty Sensei, you want me to bring the Kansho and also take care of the incense during the service?
Sure.
I think she's
I hadn't asked what you would like to do. I hadn't asked you what you would like to do during the service.
But he's gonna ring Kansho,
Okay,
so he can ring Kansho and sit next to, I can sit across from you.
okay.
so next to you.
That's
Yeah.
fine, yeah.
Yeah. We can do that.
Okay. And you're welcome to come down into the gauging for the kids' talks if you want to see the slides.
Oh,
I rarely
okay.
do slides, but
Okay.
today I did.
I'll ask Katie to see if she can replenish the.
Well, you know what, I can do that. If we're coming down, I'll just come down this way and then I'll replenish the incense.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So in that case, do I still sit right next to you, Smitty Sensei?
Smitty sensei, and then you
And
can
you're
come
gonna sit
down.
in front, and then,
I'll sit in
but
front.
you'll take care of the incense also? Okay.
And it's okay if when you come down, after I finish the talk, you can come back out
Yeah.
and join.
Yeah. We can do that.
Are you ready for us? Smitty sensei.
I just wanted to put these on your seats then. Ready?
Oh, yes.
You ready?
Anytime you're ready. Thank you.
Anytime Robert is ready, you can signal him, I'm gonna go in the back. And when you signal Arturo, I'll start playing the country.
All right. What's that? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's service. And we'll begin with the ringing of the Kansho, the calling bell. And thank you to Robert for his introduction of music this morning. Again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's service. Nice to see so many of you here today, and little chilly this morning, but but the sun's out. Nice cloudless day, so looks to be a very nice day. And welcome to our those who are live streaming the service today. We will begin this morning's service with silent meditation led by Smitty Sensei, and then that will be followed with a chanting of the Juseige on page 35 of the service book.
Kansho. As one little candle lights another, so the light of Amida's compassion will pass from one being to another endlessly. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Please join with me chanting Juseige, which are the verses reiterating Amida's vows. Gagon chosegan hishimu jodo shigan humanzo Sehujo shogak ga omuryoko hu idai seshu hu sai shobingu sehujo shogak ga shijo butendo Myosho chojippo kukyo mishomon sehujo shogak ryoku jin shonen joe shubongyo shigumu jodo isho tenin shi Jinriki Endaiko Mujo Musaido Shoujo Sankumyo Kosai Shuyakunan Kaihichi Egen Meshi Konmo An Heisoku Sho Akudo Tsudaten Zen Shumon Kosojo Manzok Iyoro Jipo Nichigaten Shujuki Tenko On Pugen Ishukai Hozo Koseku Dokuho Jo Dai Shuchu Seppo Shishiku Kuso Isai Butsu Gusoku Shutoku Hon Ane Shinjo Man Toku Isangai O Nyo Buten Mugechi Tsudaten Mihu Sho Gangaku Shisai Shoson Shiganya Koka Daisen Okando Koku Shotenin Tochin Myoke Namandabu 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 Gani Shikudoku Byodo Seisai Dohoden Bodai Shin Ojo An Rako. Gasho Namandab 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 Namandab.
Thank you. At this time, Reverend Smitty will give a Dharma message to the Dharma School students. I think she has a PowerPoint presentation today. Thank you.
Look at me using technology. Okay, well, good morning. Glad to see everybody here today. I know a lot of folks are really busy this time of year, and the period between Thanksgiving and the New Year is often filled with that hustle and bustle of the holiday season. And the Sangha teens will be enjoying their holiday party after Dharma School today, and I expect that everybody's sort of looking forward to their Secret Santa gift exchange. I'm sure that Miss Avis has been busy watching all of the Christmas movies on the Hallmark Channel, and I've heard they've been airing 24/7 since Halloween, so that's quite a few movies. I think I heard Mr. Robert playing some Christmas songs on his guitar before we started service this morning. And I myself have to get packed for a visit back east to see my mom and much of my family, where we'll celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah before I return to San Diego for the new year. So, wow, everybody's got things going on. Does anybody here put up a Bodhi Day tree or a Christmas tree? Any? Okay, great. It seems that a lot of Buddhists like to celebrate the fun part of Christmas, like having gift exchanges or cookie parties or festively decorating the house. Who here likes to watch Christmas movies or animated movies and shows about Christmas? I mean, besides Miss Avis, of course. So quite a few of you. Okay, great. Well, today I'd like to share a book with you that you might recognize better in its cartoon movie format. It's the classic How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And Dr. Seuss wrote and illustrated this original poem, which was published in 1957. And of course, that was ages ago. I don't think any of our Dharma School students were here in 1957. Holy cow, wow. You've been around longer than I thought. Okay. And the original cartoon, with the narration and the Grinch voiced by Boris Karloff. Does any of you guys know who Boris Karloff is? Oh, okay, even some of the youngsters put their hands up. All right, you must like horror movies. Yeah, okay. That first aired on TV in December of 1966, back when dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. And there are some differences between the book and the cartoon script. So along with several songs that were specifically written for the animated version, the book has a few lines that were omitted from the cartoon. But conversely, the animated version has over 20 lines that aren't found in Dr. Seuss's original poem. And you might see some other differences, like the Grinch in the book is pretty much black and white with some shades of red included. Well, the iconic color of the Grinch is now green. That's right. And that's thanks to the cartoon director, Chuck Jones. You know, he also directed a lot of the Bugs Bunny cartoons in the old days. But he decided that green was Grinchier. So here we go with the book, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Every who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to keep Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise. Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years, I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat. And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled, what a great Grinchy trick. I'm myself. What a great Grinchy trick. With his coat And this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, giddy up, and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming, sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. He stuffed them in bags, then the Grinch, very nimbly, stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. He then slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash, while the Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. And he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound, like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who is not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But the Grinch, you know, that old Grinch, was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. Why, my little sweet tot, the fake Santa Claus lied, there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. And this fib fooled the child, then he patted her head, and he got her a drink and sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On the walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 15:15 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he was grinchishly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started out low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day, and the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. You know, we still call it roast beast in my house, where I grew up. I guess we were pretty influenced by this whole story. Well, isn't that a nice little Christmas story? So, well, why are we listening to it here at the Buddhist temple? You see, I think the whole story of the Grinch has some Jodo Shinshu messages hidden in it too, but you have to know where to look for them. So who here has heard about the 3 poisons? We sometimes refer to them as greed, anger, and stupidity so that we can remember them as the acronym GAS, or GAS. And the 3 poisons can lead us away from the Buddhist path whenever we indulge in them. Sometimes it's easier to see these problems or flaws in others than it is to see them in ourselves. How about greed? Is there any greed in this story? Yeah, I think the Grinch was a bit greedy. You know, he really wants to have his way, which means he doesn't want the Who's to enjoy Christmas and their Christmas traditions. That's a bit greedy when we think of ourselves and want to do everything our way. And the Grinch also took all of the Who's stuff, including their food. That sounds pretty greedy to me. So that's one of the 3 poisons that we're warned about. How about anger, where it sometimes shows up as hatred? Is there anger or hatred in the story? Yeah, the Grinch starts off hating or being angry a lot. In fact, the story starts off with the Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. Yeah, it says right there. He just hates it. So that's one very angry Christmas-hating Grinch. He even stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's. He was angry over their decorations, over the noise they made, over the food they ate, and over the songs they sang. Everything about the Who's made the Grinch angry. And that's a huge example of the second of the 3 poisons that we're warned about. So how about stupidity? Or sometimes it shows up as ignorance. Is there any stupidity or ignorance in this story? Yeah, a lot of that too. Again, looking at the Grinch, he's kind of stupid or ignorant when it comes to the meaning of the Christmas season and why the Who's decorate and sing and feast and make all of that noise. The Grinch is also pretty ignorant to think that he can stop Christmas from coming by taking away the Who's decorations, presents, and food. And he was kind of stupid to believe that Christmas came from a store. And the Grinch was ignorant to the interdependence that exists among all beings, falsely believing that he was separate and not a part of the Who's down in Whoville. And that's some serious evidence of that third of the three poisons that we're warned about. But in the end, the Grinch does learn that Christmas isn't all about toys and presents and games and stockings and wrapping paper and ornaments, trees or mistletoe wreaths. The story says that the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day. But what's the real antidote to those 3 poisons? It's Amida Buddha. It's wisdom and compassion. That's what made the Grinch's heart open to joy and happiness, the gratitude, and the giving nature of the Who's. Wisdom and compassion led the Grinch to comprehend the oneness that he shared with the Who's, even though they lived in Whoville and he lived up on Mount Crumpet. By the end of the story, the Grinch discovered that Christmas is a spirit, it's a state of mind, it's a joyous feeling. It's not a bunch of material things. So I think every time that we demand to have our way, we become a Grinch. And every time we're angry or hate others or get mad at what other people do, we become a Grinch. And every time we forget to be grateful for all that we have or fail to appreciate the people in our lives, what happens? We become a Grinch. So indulging in the 3 poisons of greed, anger, and stupidity takes us off our path. But fortunately for us, even when we become a Grinch, Amida Buddha helps us to overcome these poisons so that we can live a Shin Buddhist life. That's why I think the Christmas story is really filled with hidden Jodo Shinshu messages. So please join me now in Gassho, in gratitude for all that we find that we have and all that we have learned. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Thank you, Smitty Sensei, for your very enlightening Dharma talk to the students on how the Grinch stole Christmas and the parallels of how it is part of all of our lives as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. You know, I remember watching the Grinch on TV when I was younger, and it was in black and white. So, you know, that was so. But it was fun. I still enjoy watching, you know, those type of animated shows whenever Miss Avis isn't watching her Hallmark movies. But you know, yeah, it's a good time of the year. Okay, will everyone please rise for the recitation of our pledge, and its insert found in the service book, and remain standing for the Gatha in Lumbini's garden on page 119. Okay. Our pledge, breaking out of my shell, I want to share the Lord, smile, and speak real words, just like the kind Buddha, not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance. I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the kind Buddha. Not putting myself first, I shall share in joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Learning the gift of life, conceive, I shall strive in each day to the fullest, just like the Buddha. Gassho, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, now we'll sing the Gatha in Lumbini's garden on page 119. and be accompanied by Mr. Robert on the guitar. Softly blew the breezes on that glorious morn in Lumbini's garden, where Siddhartha was born. Gently fell the raindrops, sweet and fragrantly, on the newborn infant, enlightened one to be. From the earth sprang flowers, birds and springtime sang. All throughout the universe, strings of music rang. Namo Amitabs. Namo Amitabs. Namo Amitabs. Thank you. You may be seated. With this being the month of December, it's time to recognize those who have birthdays this month. So if you have a birthday in December, please come forward and for Oshoko, and you can get a little gift from the Dharma School. Anybody? December? Just one? That's it? Boy, Jamie, you're pretty lucky. Okay, you can.
I have to give a speech?
No, you just have to tell everyone when your birthday is.
My birthday is December 11th. Do I have to say how old I am?
No. Anybody else with birthdays in December? Don't be shy. Okay, we'll sing Happy Birthday, Dharma Friend, to Jamie, okay? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dharma friend. Happy birthday to you. Congratulations. You're right. Do we have any visitors joining us today? First-time visitors? Anyone? Oh, if you don't mind, if you could stand and just introduce yourselves. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you, Howie. Thank you for joining us. Bobby? Thank you. I'm sorry, your name again? Grace? Okay, thank you for joining us today. Kayla, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our service, and we hope that you join us again at future services. Okay, now we'll move on to announcements. Are there any announcements to be made?
Good morning, everybody. I have two announcements. Sorry, I'm condensing them. Okay, first, our script program. If you'd like any gift cards ordered, we're placing an order today. So if you can go down to the office and put in your order, there's a whole list of like thousands of merchants. If you'd like a gift card to order, we'd have it here before Christmas. My second one is the New Year's party for next year. The order form is in the office, and the order form is due by the end of the month. So if you can place your order, because there will be no extras the day of the New Year's party, which is January 19th, I believe that's a Sunday. So there's vegetarian, regular bentos, and Kentucky Fried Chicken for those. Okay, thank you so much.
Good morning, my name is Bob, and I'm helping with Dharma School activities. We are planning a day hike, excuse me, planning a day hike on November 4th, or a day activity around Mission Trails. There's a short loop. Message will go out to the Dharma School students, but everybody will be invited, and I believe there will be a general announcement too. It's going to be at 9 o'clock in the morning with a meal, coffee shop afterwards, so stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Margot. I know you missed my announcements lately, but we still have some brittle to sell. And don't forget, the holidays are coming up, New Year's. So like I said, don't go to people's houses empty-handed. That's not very Donna-like. So, and we have a lot of brittle to sell. So please consider buying. I'll be selling downstairs in the hospitality room. Save me the trip of having to go up and down Market Street selling my wares. So thank you.
See, I have a few announcements. Today, if you've ordered tamales in Kamaboko, the BWA will be distributing the tamales downstairs. It'll be in the far door just outside the kitchen. So you could pick it up there, but starting at noon. The tamales are still being prepared, and they won't be delivered here till it's about 11:30. So starting at noon, you can pick up your tamales. And if you ordered kamaboko, the fish cakes, then that could be picked up at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then, thank you to everyone who came out for Mochitsuki last week. I hope all of you all had a great time. I know the Dharma School students had fun at Mochitsuki. And thank you everyone for a fun day of producing over about 1,100 pounds of mochi for the new year. It's greatly appreciated for everyone's help. And for Dharma School students, if you helped out for mochi, we have a little treat for you. So you could come pick it up during hospitality. And for those Dharma School students who didn't participate, we'll have something for you as well. Okay, so don't forget, okay? You can see me during hospitality. Okay? And then also, if we only have a few bags of mochi left to sell. But if you're interested in purchasing mochi, Vista is having their Mochitsuki next Sunday. And I believe their mochi is the same price. It's $7 per bag. And they also sell on mochi, the mochi with the filled red bean, sweet beans. So if you're interested in ordering, you can let me know, and I can get you on the list, because I have to send that order list to Vista today. Okay? And let's see. Oh, next Sunday will be our it'll be our last Dharma family service, Sunday service. Next Sunday will be the last one at 10. There won't be a service on the 29th because we'll be having our year-end Joyaya service on the 31st at 6 p.m. And then later that evening will be the Joyaya no Kane the bell ringing ceremony at Shelter Island at 11:30. And then we'll start the new year on January 1st with the New Year's service at 10 a.m. Okay. I think that's it for announcements. So, well, let's see. Okay, at this time, I'd like to thank everyone for attending the service, and then thank the Reverend Smitty for delivering the message to the Dharma School students, and to Reverend Laverne, and to our CMAs, Arturo and Mr. Bill, for assisting today's service, and to our tech team of Brevin, Ken, and Ricky for their help, and to the Coparubius family for the for helping with the birthdays. And then, so at this time, the Dharma School students are excused to their classes. So if you could come up for Oshoko, and then you can go to your classes for today.
Heard you talk about him before, but okay. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, we'll now begin with the adult portion of the service, and with the recitation of the T Sarana on page 96. And Smitty Sensei will lead the reading, the Vandana T Sarana.
And if everybody who would like to can join in with me, including chanting the parts that say leader. Someday we'll be able to afford the musical notes in the book so that you can follow a little more easily. But for now, hopefully you know the melody that goes along with it. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Kie Butsu. Namo Kie Ho. Namo Kie So. Asho Namandab, 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 Namandab.
Thank you. And now Smitty Sensei will share her Dharma message.
Okay, no slides for the adults, sorry. Please join me in Gassho. Because not everyone has the same inclinations and interests, the Buddha taught a wide variety of methods to suit different people. So it's wonderful that many different religions exist in the world. Just as one food will not appeal to everybody, it's true that one religion or set of beliefs will not satisfy everyone's needs. All major religious traditions carry basically the same message of love and compassion. The important thing is that they should be part of our daily lives. From the 14th Dalai Lama, Namandab, 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 Namandab. So, well, the Dharma School talk was kind of long. I'll try to keep this one a little bit shorter, but I'm still going to talk about the holiday season again. Is anybody wondering why we sang in Lumbini's garden, even though it's not Hanamatsuri? Well, Mr. Robert asked if we could sing it, but it makes sense to me in that it's kind of a Buddhist Christmas song, because we're singing about the birth of the infant who would become the Buddha. So since we don't sing other Christmas songs here, I figured that was the closest we could get, and kind of worked for me. So some of you may know that that I didn't grow up in a Buddhist family. My dad was actually Russian Orthodox, and my mom is Catholic, and my siblings and I were raised going to Mass at the Catholic Church and attending Sunday school there. And I remember celebrating Christmas as a young kid. And since we lived near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I always hoped for a white Christmas. And many times we did have snow, even if it was just flurries. And I remember watching all the Christmas specials on TV, like Ralph had mentioned, things like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and How the Grinch Stole Christmas, of course. Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, A Charlie Brown Christmas, and even Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. And the Hallmark Channel didn't exist back then, and Christmas movies were usually big Hollywood productions, like White Christmas, or The Bishop's Wife, or Miracle on 34th Street, or Holiday Inn, or It's a Wonderful Life, or even Christmas in Connecticut. And we trimmed a Christmas tree, and we baked and decorated Christmas cookies, and we hung stockings in a row, and covered our house with Christmas lights and listened to Christmas carols and wrote letters to Santa and wrapped and exchanged gifts and stopped all the festivities long enough to go to church on Christmas morning. And I remember being told that Christmas was all about the birth of baby Jesus. Even Linus pointed that out in A Charlie Brown Christmas. But the decorations and the music and the movies made it all seem that Christmas was mostly about the shopping and the eating and getting presents. So I guess I did learn a lot from the Grinch back in those days. That just like the Who's, lots of presents, lots of singing, lots of fun. But I do remember some other things from being a kid and celebrating Christmas. Like every December, there was a Pittsburgh radio station, KDKA, who would host a fundraiser for the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. And they would broadcast from a local department store window, and they'd invite listeners to come by their storefront booth, make a donation, and possibly get to say something on the air. Wow, that was really huge back then, you know, before social media and everything, where you can blab all you want to the world. That was a big deal to get to, you know, go down to the big department store and get to say something over the radio to all your friends and family if you wanted to. So Jack Bogut, who was the host of the broadcast, he would often pick a different comical shtick or theme every year to entice listeners into donating to the Children's Hospital Free Care Fund. And one year, a listener told Bogart about the farkleberry, a tangy little berry not native to Pittsburgh that had a funny name. And since he hadn't thought of a way to attract donations that year, Jack had the story of the farkleberries on his mind when he went on air. And suddenly he blurted out, "Start your heart, eat a farkleberry tart, and tear the world apart." Well, it sounded kind of crazy, and it really was. It didn't make much sense, but for some reason, Jack's goofiness made that saying an instant hit, and it became a slogan for the Children's Hospital fundraising broadcast for many years to come. And that silly little rhyme that Jack Bogart had invented, he invited people to open their hearts, donate money for the care of kids at the Children's Hospital, and share some tasty farkleberry-themed food and make a difference in the world, even if that difference was just in the life of one kid. So each year after that, Jack Bogut would devise another farkleberry-flavored something or other to draw in more and more donations to the broadcast booth in the department store windows. Jim Delegati, who was the owner of the Western Pennsylvania McDonald's franchises and the inventor of the Big Mac, he would help bring Jack's crazy ideas into reality. He would just open up his McDonald's kitchens to KDKA radio and allow them to produce all these different farkleberry treats year after year. And Jim always came up with something delicious that was made with farkleberries, and he donated everything to the Free Care Fund. And additional to the original farkleberry tarts, there were farkleberry snickerdoodles, farkleberry coffee cake, farkleberry ding-dongs, farkleberry brew, which was kind of a spiced coffee, farkleberry frump, which was sort of a sheet cake cut into squares, farkleberry turkey cookies, although I didn't think there was any real turkey in them, farkleberry pierogies, and of course just plain farkleberry cookies. There were even farkleberry songs written and performed on the air at the broadcast windows by different school groups from around the Pittsburgh area, and even schools in nearby West Virginia and Ohio would come because they wanted to perform and get on the air and get into the whole game. But most of all, the farkleberry was an excuse to be silly, be generous to the kids at the Children's Hospital, and bring some joy into the lives of others. It really wasn't until years later, as a Buddhist, that I realized the real message of farkleberry season, or as Christmas, as some call it, was one of dana, or generous giving. It was also a message that when we receive so much in our lives through the generosity of others, we should in turn be generous to those who need our help. And so the holiday season is about giving generously. It's about love and compassion towards others. Well, you know, many years have passed since I was a kid. I won't tell you how many, but a lot. And my family has grown and changed. So in addition to family members who are Christians and Buddhists, we have several who are of the Jewish faith. And I've stood around the table as family members light the menorah for Hanukkah and recite prayers in Hebrew, while Christmas carols play softly in the background. And my youngest niece, whose bat mitzvah I attended many years ago, but who is now in her 20s, often goes to my mom's house in order to help her grandma decorate the Christmas tree each year. And nobody seems to mind if I call it a Bodhi tree instead of a Christmas tree. So while the words of Christmas carols might tout peace on earth and goodwill to men, or all, the wish for peace and compassion to all is not just a Christian or specifically a Catholic sentiment. Because at the root of things, we're celebrating a season of love and compassion and giving, whether it's called Christmas, Hanukkah, Bodhi Day, or Farkleberry season. So stringing up Christmas lights of many colors are not unlike the sparkling jewels of many colors that the sutras describe of being in the Pure Land. And the candles lit on the menorah, they shine with the light of wisdom and cut through the darkness of greed, anger, and ignorance, just as the candles on the Onaijin or at our Homo Butsudans do. And while my family members might practice different rituals and seem to be on different paths, as the Buddha said, there are 84,000 Dharma gates, or paths to awakening, and I like to think that our different paths are the ones each of us are best suited to, and that we're not really headed to different places on those paths. Whether we light our path with Christmas lights, a menorah, or simple white candles, we're all sharing in the celebration of generosity, love, compassion this time of year. So have yourself a merry little Farkleberry season and share the joy and love with your family and friends. By the way, Farkleberries really do exist, but while they're palatable to many species of birds and mammals, they're basically inedible to humans. So the Farkleberry cookie, which is a crumbly sugar cookie, lightly flavored with orange and then loaded with white chocolate chips and cranberries and dusted with powdered sugar, still exists today. And the cookie is sold annually at the Oakmont Bakery, located in the Oakmont suburb of Pittsburgh. And they sell it between Thanksgiving and the New Year's Day, and a portion of the Farkleberry cookie sales are still donated to the Children's Hospital Free Care Fund, helping to bring a little joy to the kids and their families each year. So let's try to bring a little bit of joy and happiness to each other, no matter what we're celebrating this holiday season. So let us close with Kansho. I believe that the only true religion consists of having a good heart. The 14th Dalai Lama. Namandab, 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 namandab.
Thank you, Smitty Sensei, for sharing your Dharma message on this Farkleberry season and how we, everyone will enjoy this joyous time of year. Okay, will everyone please rise for the Gatha Ondokusan, and that is found on page 128. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we'll end this morning's service with music meditation. A family is a place where a mind lives with other minds. If these minds love each other, the home will be as beautiful as a flower garden. Kansho, Namo Amidabs.
Namo Amidabs.
Namo Amidabs.
Namo
Namo
Amidabs.
Amidabs.
Namo
Namo
Amidabs.
Amidabs. Namo Amidabs. Well, this concludes our service for today. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you to all of our helpers for today's service. And please join us for a hospitality downstairs in the dining room. Today's hospitality is being hosted by the Sangatines. And you're welcome to Oshoko following the service, and have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you.